started 4 minutes late. First item on the agenda, we need to excuse Chip. He's took a furlough to visit some children out of town during spring break. So we'll excuse him tonight. First item on the agenda is public comment concerning any issue not on the agenda. So this time is reserved for any items that we have in the town. If it doesn't appear on the agenda, this will be the time to bring that up to the council. Do we have anything?
My understanding, we're going to address the Smith parcel plat amendment.
Yes. During the planning report. Okay. Good. Okay. Some chairs. We got any more over there?
No, they're out,
Two
they're behind
Casey is
Lynn.
supposed to be on his way.
Oh, is he?
Okay, all right. All right, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing for input on the construction of the proposed elementary school.
So moved.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, this will open the public meeting. I had a poster hung up, but it doesn't want to stay on the wall. So the school has provided us with this poster that shows the layout of the school on the parcels. And so if anybody has any questions, this will be a great time to come up here. Please state your name for the record so we can get your name on the
Will
record.
it hang up on the whiteboard?
That will be your man of white.
Hold off the door, so I think the
Well, that's-
whiteboard's even worse. It'd probably be
Will it
slippery.
It might.
I don't know.
No,
So you have to
Try.
On the wall, but maybe on the table.
you stand her down, hold it down.
There you go.
They're trying to.
There you go. Now you can have
Shoot 'em
one.
on tape.
There, it'll
You
stick.
got white.
So there, it'll stick.
Let's try it.
Just hold it.
Building can serve on tape.
Yes, we'll be pulling the paint off the wall with that too. Okay, so if you'll come up here and state your name for the record, and then we'll take comments about the school. If there's some questions, they may be able to be answered tonight, they may not be able to be answered tonight, but we'll work through it. Okay?
Drink them heavy tonight,
You're not gonna tell us what you know.
That's what I know. There's the layout. The school is being built in Daniel. The school board has told us that they will do whatever Daniel wants.
But it was facing, wow. Shoot, what's the name of that?
It's facing Weaver Park.
Well, it's
Weeder Park.
It is facing Weaver Park.
Wait, that's not Northtown.
Yes, all that property is
This
in
is
our
on
town.
Ranch Drive.
This is north.
That's Wheeler Park over there.
And so what they've agreed to do, I guess I can just run this through you. This is Ranch Drive. They've agreed to leave this a cul-de-sac. And that little gate right there is a crash gate for the fire department.
So
It'll
no
be,
student tests.
no, and that's something we'll talk about tonight also. That will be, in our last meeting, this is a 6-foot chain link gate with a padlock on it. Okay? So we have, they basically have done everything that we've asked keeping this closed. And so if there's anything else that we need to look at, there has been some comment about a pedestrian gate right to the side of this gate going in here for pedestrian access along that side, right against that one. But other than that, this will all be chain link fence, 6 feet high. So,
Can they do that? Put that pedestrian gate in there?
can they what?
Can they do that and still maintain security?
Security of the school? Yes, that's why it's so far to the front. Because they could have put it back here, but up here in the front, they're able to, because the buses will be coming in this area now.
So you're gonna have a lot of parents.
Buses here, sorry, parents there, parents there. And so that still keeps them out of the big driveway, but it would allow them to come straight into the school here. So,
Is that gonna be a drop off?
Yeah, that's.
Parents driving personal vehicles into there?
it could be, yeah, it could be.
Let me say something.
But we won't have buses on here because there's that turnaround and all that's not big.
So it's, we have the decision whether to have pedestrian access or not. That's entirely the decision of the town council, correct?
Yep.
So, I'm Dan Dearden. Can I say something real quick here?
Yeah, you want to come up here so we can get you on?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
So, there's a group of us here, we live on Ranch Drive. Dan Dearden, I live there's one lot between me and the school. I did visit the old middle school today, and I'm pleased to say the profile and the cleanliness of the school encouraged me, because quite honestly, when we all bought our lots there, we were looking very carefully at the fact that our street's a cul-de-sac, we'd have low traffic, quality of life, low noise pollution, be able to have our animals out. We very specifically, those of us that live there now, chose our lots very carefully. I was in an area in the valley that became very overgrown. I'm very pro-education, get all of that, but we specifically wanted to live in Daniel like all of you do, because we wanted to keep low, be under the radar. Now, my son lives in Harriman, my son and daughter-in-law. I have 3 grandkids, and 2 of them go to the middle school, the elementary school, Black Ridge Elementary, and the Fort Harriman Middle School. What concerns us about having a gate for pedestrian traffic here is that cars fill every nook and cranny from every direction to get their kids to those schools, and they're of similar size, slightly bigger, but of similar size. So we don't think it would just be for Daniel folks. It's going to be from the east side of Highway 40. When people realize that there could be a bottleneck on the Wheeler Park side, or excuse me, the north, that street is what, 2400 South?
Yes.
Because at the last meeting it was discussed with the school board, and everybody was, it was a forthcoming meeting, a lot discussed. That street's going to now be 54 feet wide. There's no plan in the foreseeable future to put it out to Highway 40. It's going to have a bicycle trail access. It's going to have 2 lanes and a turning lane, so it's going to be 3 lanes with a bike lane. All great, and I think it's extending back to the west. They're going to make it wider, 54 feet all the way throughout, correct? Is that pretty accurate? So there's some good discussion going on about that. There will be no parking on the north side of that road, because they don't want kids to be dropped and then have to walk across the street. If they do open up that parking, they're going to have an additional expense of a lot of crossing guards. And I understand, I haven't seen the traffic study yet, but I'm hearing that the traffic study indicates that Highway 40 may not even need to go out for, it was at 20 or 40 years, it's a long time.
It was like 40 years, but it's definitely for sure that we're doing 54 feet in front of our school.
Right.
It's up to the city whether they're going to widen their portion out to Daniel.
Okay. All right, so thank you. So I'll make this fairly quick. We're concerned about a couple things on our street. Mike Duggan and I have spoken many times. Ranch Drive is the most poorly designed street in the township of Daniel. Has very little road base, has not a very thick asphalt cover. We think that's going to break down. That's a concern. The other concern is when people do find out that it's going to be difficult, it won't matter where they live. They might live in front of the school. The people in other areas go all the way around. They'll drive an extra 2 or 3 minutes to not have to wait in some type of a line of traffic. We talked to Terry Shoemaker. We understand that busing will be available for the kids throughout Daniel because of the distance to the school. So if we elect to keep that closed, then we should very easily be able to get kids to school via a bus route. And then some of the other things that we're concerned about, Pam and I chased down a drug type deal that crossed the field. Lot 6 is right there, just south of the green space. Out in my yard, and my border collie corralled a guy very violently, and I caught him carrying a bunch of drug paraphernalia, had a hat on backwards, said dope, with a marijuana leaf. He walked over to 3000 and went into a house just to the west of you, and living in a trailer behind the house. And we've had multiple drug dealers, deals, yeah.
It was Phil's place?
I'm not sure. Anyway, the point is we want to do a couple things. Our concern, and other people want to speak, so I'll shut up, but we want to limit traffic on Ranch Drive We want to make sure that we can keep the quality of life there. Along Teancum, we have folks along Teancum that are concerned that traffic will route around, and then of course down 3000 as well. If it were just Daniel kids, no question whatsoever, but Daniel kids and your kids and my kids or whomever, I don't have, I'm older, I'm an old man, but kids come for a few years. Bridger, for example, kids come for a few years.
My kid?
Your kid, anybody's kid, you're gonna possibly leave there. But we've all talked about this, so there may be a little inconvenience where could your son or daughter walk right there? Yes, great, but they grow up. And we're talking about an activity of traffic that's going to last forever because kids move on and then other kids fill in. So we want to think that through for not just ourselves, but along Teancum and 3000 and so forth. But anyhow, thanks for hearing me.
Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
Where would you like to see the kids dropped off at?
The front of the school.
And that's outside of where the buses come in?
That's, yes, the buses.
That's how normal all schools
Yeah.
are. You drop them off. There's not man gates and stuff at any of their schools.
So right here. See, there's no sidewalks here, and there's really private property, I understand, comes pretty much up to the street. So this could become bottlenecked twice a day, on and off. There was a man gate. You could end up with soccer practice and football and baseball practice and people parking in front of private homes. We think they've laid this out pretty well. We were quite honestly very against it, but we live in a democratic society and we lost and we'd rather it be somewhere else. But the point is, now we need to be good neighbors and they've done some excellent planning here. So we think that's the route that should be used and keep all of Daniel out this way quiet. And
Behind the red dots, and they have that little dippy thing.
right here.
Like there, yeah, you know how it kind of swings around? Is that not a lane for the cars to go in and drop their kids off?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that is.
That's the
That's the
bus.
bus.
I think the
Oh,
car
I
was
know,
on
bus
the
is
over there.
Yeah.
Buses,
Which one's the bus?
The
Where
big,
your finger is
the
now.
big one's the bus and the little ones is for the cars, is that correct?
so
That's
it is for
correct.
cars, right? The bigger ones
Yeah.
for cars?
That's
No.
bus.
Well, yeah, but this is where the
Yeah,
cars are.
at other schools I've seen, it's the cars go around the parking lot and the buses don't have any traffic from private vehicles coming in and out. So I think this is the car.
No, that's the bus.
You're sure?
That's what it is.
Because it isn't in every other school I've observed by sitting there, but I'm,
It's one or the other, right?
There's a bus
There's a
spot and a
drop-off.
car park.
yeah.
And most of the kids are supposed to be walking from Wheeler Park, is why they built the school there.
Yeah.
This is patterned after the Old Mill School,
Yeah.
and Old Mill is the bus, the bigger one is the bus.
Okay.
So the big things
Bus
are
on that
and the
side.
little ones. the cars.
Employee parking, employee parking out to the north.
Oh,
So can you just quickly summarize what you want? Is it just no gate right there? Is that, that's?
Right.
That's the only thing?
We would like to, well, a couple things. One is we would like no pedestrian traffic and no vehicle traffic
Okay.
because we think it would get out of hand. Mike Duggan, when he was mayor, and Mary worked very hard. Every one of us on that street spent several $100s specifically to keep that street from having through traffic. The cul-de-sac to the east of us did the same thing. And we think that's important on a number of levels. But yes, we'd say no vehicle traffic, no pedestrian traffic.
So how do you stop the vehicle traffic? Can we put up a sign or something that says no school drop off or something?
Well, if there's a fence and it's,
If there's a
yeah, there's a
No
fence and no
access to
gate,
take it
then.
in.
But that's all we can do, I think.
yeah.
Well, you can't do that because you take Class C road funds and you start limiting that and you start running into problems with the state.
Okay.
Now say
So
that
what-
again,
so
though,
what-
Eric.
what's the deal?
Because it's a Class C road fund, we get funds from the state on that, so there's limitations on what we can limit.
So you
on road.
can't put signage up, is what
Right,
you're saying? Okay.
right. Or you start running into problems with the state because public road, they're paying back us funds to maintain that road, and so that becomes an issue.
But the school board said something interesting the other day. It was a good meeting, and they also said that, okay, what if somebody drops off there anyway and the kids try to climb the gate or they try to cross the road from the other side of 2400? They basically said, we're going to enforce those rules because it's a safety issue, it's a liability issue. If a kid falls and breaks his hip coming off the fence, that's a problem if he gets hit by a car. So if there is no gate access, and there is no vehicle access except for the crash gate in an emergency situation, then that can be enforced. If somebody tries to cut the fence or something, then it gets fixed and we enforce it.
On the gate itself, the crash gate, then there would be a side note and been the same way.
It's locked. It's supposed to be a locked roll gate.
Yeah. I
So
guess
unless there's a
when I
fire in there,
looked, yeah,
take
and when I
them
looked
through
at that, I thought, well, if somebody drops their kid off here, or you ride your bike down here, you're forcing them to trespass across here to get around to the school,
That's right, it's private property.
because that's private property on this piece here.
But
So
it's fenced. They shouldn't be
So
going
that's-
over the fence and
that's
stuff
why that
anyway.
discussion even came up.
How is it fenced right now, you
Well,
know?
this property, the Hitter's property, it's all fenced along here, and then the cul-de-sac.
What kind of a
This is
fence?
It's like a horse fence. It's mesh,
It's still
4
fenced.
feet, yeah.
Because kids go through a lot of stuff, I know that. They're like raccoons.
That's a good point. And you know what, quite frankly, if they do that, we'll put up a higher fence.
Yeah.
We'll expand that fence.
So basically you want a gate there, or you don't want a gate there?
Correct.
Okay.
Here, I'll speak to that, since I'm up anyway.
I just put a copy of what the ranch, so Daniels Estates is called, and the school bought the lot 7 and 8. And Ranch Drive, when I moved there 12 years ago, we bought that property so that we could have quiet, dead-end road, and have our animals around. Now, we did our due diligence, we checked our homework, we set everything up and made sure that those rules were followed for us. Now we've got the school district, we had CC&Rs, didn't matter, school bought the land and are gonna build the school anyway. So now we're trying to save our lifestyle as best we can, and one of our concerns is traffic, big concern. So I and my neighbors do not want any access at the end of Ranch Drive. We spent our own personal money to close that road, Ranch Drive. Mike and Mary were very involved in that, because Heber would have then been able to come through that road, and then it would have been a busy thoroughfare. And we said, we don't want that. So we spent our money and closed that permanently. That cannot be opened. So now we're talking about allowing children, and we did, the school brought up that they wanted children to walk to school. That's a great idea. Well, Ranch Drive's a half mile long. There's no center street, no center line. There is no sidewalk. There's weeds along both sides of places that are no longer developed. So the kids are not gonna walk down the middle of that road. It's just not gonna happen. So families are gonna drive their children down to the proposed man gate and drop them off. Well, it's private property down there on both sides, so if there's a gate there, how are they gonna pick the little kids up? They're gonna wait for them? So now we got a traffic nightmare down there. Plus, it's an unmonitored gate. So in this day and age, I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want my children walking down in the atmosphere that's sometime around in our world that you just wanna drop Johnny off, because it might be unsafe for him. Plus, the cars driving back and forth, he could get hit, or the children could get hit. A lot of people that don't live along our road might not realize a lot of people, other citizens as well as Heber City citizens, use that road for jogging, dog walking, riding their ATVs. We ride our horses. Stephanie does little buggy rides, and that'll all be very dangerous for everybody because parents will be driving back and forth. And since they can't go through to Heber side, they're gonna have to turn around and come back out. So it's 4 trips a day, back and forth, for parents dropping their kids off on that. So that's one of our concerns. Let's see, what else on traffic? Most of the kids in Daniel qualify for bus, so they have that access. I've driven around there. It's 1.5 miles from the entry of the school around to Ranch Drive. For most people, it's a 5-minute difference on dropping your children off, 5 minutes, maybe. For me, if we decide to put some kind of access there for people to get into the school district, it'll affect the whole time I live there. Your kids will grow up and go away. I'll still be looking at other people's kids going down that road. And it's not very safe. Cost to the town of Daniel, we'll have increased road maintenance, because the road, as and Dan talked about, is not up to any kind of code. In the 12 years I've lived there, we've, what's it called when you seal it with oil?
Service.
Sealed oil.
We've done that a few times, but other than that, we've had no maintenance on that road, which is fine. It was built to support a 13 single-family home, 5-acre ranchette home, not a place the parents and people can drive back and forth 4 times a day. So increased costs on the road maintenance, increased snow plowing. Right now they plow it once, maybe on a good day. So that'll be an increased cost to the people of Daniel. Lifestyle will certainly affect my lifestyle, and it's not why I bought there. So I'd like that to be taken into consideration. And the other thing, with all the reason we moved to Daniel, rural lifestyle. Having all these cars drive up and down the road is not gonna suit my rural lifestyle. So I appreciate if people could understand that. The last point is I think that we shouldn't make this decision in haste. We don't really know how this will affect all the citizens of Daniel, including myself, that maybe we should wait until the school's been built. And that, let's see how this all works out, and then we can have this discussion again. Once we see how many cars might come down our road, or maybe there won't be any, I don't know. We don't know, we're kind of looking at a crystal ball there. So it seems like a decision we should not make in haste as residents of Daniel, and as far as the board's concerned. I think there should be traffic studies done, surveys of our citizens, before we open up any access to this school property.
But if we open it up,
They will come.
this pile, boy, it's gonna be harder to close it.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's a true statement. You open and build things, they will come. It's just the nature of the business.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
We just confirmed that the cars will be on the west side, the buses will
Which
be on
is
the east.
that side. The left
So
side.
that's opposite.
That's
of
opposite what
the
Old
whole
Mill
mill.
is for some reason on this.
So this is Wheeler Lane, this is
Wheeler Park.
Wheeler Park. So the cars will come down this way, come in here, drop the kids off, and go out and go back
And then
out.
the
Is that
buses here.
correct? And then the buses will do the same. Because this will be a dead end down here
Like a
until
cul-de-sac?
further
It's
notice.
got to see where where your finger to the right is with a little bit of grass. That's
That's
a little
cul-de-sac.
cul-de-sac that Heber City requested so that we don't have people backing out so they can turn around.
Turn around and go back
Because
out
they'll
on
not
Wheeler
realize
Road.
it's a dead end, possibly.
Not until they've been there a few times, then they'll realize it. And someday that road will go through, so none of us know when, another
Apparently
crystal
we'll all
ball
be dead
question.
according to the.
Apparently.
40 years, yeah.
Another crystal ball decision that none of us know about.
But then you read this article on the front page of the Wave that the fastest growing.
Aren't we lucky?
They're so great.
Isn't that wonderful?
Here they come.
Well, we can make it nice for us all, I think, with good planning and being visionary in what we all want to do. Mike and several other people, some of you guys on the board were very visionary when you set up Daniel in '06. I mean, otherwise we'd all be in Wheeler Park. So thank you, the visionary people that, even though we're one of the nicest communities around and the fastest growing in, I don't know, the world, you guys were visionary enough to say, let's have a plan here, so let's have a plan. No, my seat's over here.
I'm Stephanie Grady and I live on Ranch Drive. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the safety and how I see it. I'm a little baffled that we're even talking about the man gate, because I'm in total agreement with the school district. I've been to many of the meetings now that it is their #1 priority, the safety of the children. And these are elementary children. And the school board has denied putting a privacy berm on the south end of their property, which borders Pepe Kelman's property. And the reasoning behind that is, you know, people hiding behind the berm, shooters, pedophiles, I mean, things that we don't even want to think about. And so it just, if the school board has these fears then about a berm, then I'm sure that they have major concerns over man gate. And the gate would allow those bad people to get in, and what if the children snuck out? You know, and then where are they going? I mean, like Dan said, we have, I hate to say it, we have used condoms at the end of that cul-de-sac on a weekly basis. We have drug deals. Last winter, one of those drug deals went awry and they broke down in front of my house. I had to call the sheriffs. Really, we just don't need that access for these children. And our valley is growing, like everybody has said, and there should be one entrance to the school, not numerous. And in this day and age, we have to take every precaution for the safety of the children. And I would ask that you would consider unmonitored and keep the children monitored.
Hey Stephanie,
Yeah.
couple points. One is we talked a little bit in our meeting, we pulled everybody probably knows this, you can pull up the sex offender list for any area in the state of Utah. I think it's a great law. I was stunned. We have them in Daniel, we have them in Heber, and there's some first-degree convicted felons, and I even looked on there and I was a little bit surprised to see a couple folks I've crossed paths with. So I do think that's important, because you just said something that I hadn't thought a lot about, not just kids getting, or people getting in, but kids getting out. My son, when he went to first grade for the first time, he walked, well, it was 3 or 4 blocks, and my wife dropped him off, and she was outside, and all of a sudden she sees a pair of feet underneath the trailer. And she walked around and says, "What are you doing here, buddy?" He says, "I'm not going to that place." He walked home all by himself at 6 years old, and she took him back over to the school. They were frantic looking for him, not their fault, but I think educators in this day and age are really careful, and I don't think they'll disagree. So
This
we have
is the
to-
day and age where
yeah.
lots of horrible things happen, and, you know, those people didn't think that it could happen to them either, I'm sure, you know, so.
Thank you.
Sure. Go ahead.
My name's Tim Clark. I don't live in Daniels yet. We're trying to buy the Smith property on Teacom. And I bought a house in Heber in 1992. It was on the very northwest corner of Heber, and it was very remote, very quiet on the end of the street. Beer field got built behind me, and then low-income housing got built behind me, and just totally encroached, ruined my house. So in selecting our place, the Smith property, it's 5-acre parcels, so we knew there's going to be limited traffic, it's going to be nice and quiet, was what we were looking for. So when I saw the school there, the first thought I had was, oh my gosh, there's going to be all this traffic in, because I didn't know about the Beaver Road there. So that was a concern, but seeing the options we have now in order to try and maintain what everybody that has bought property on the Daniel Ranch area has sought, you need to try and do what you can to try and preserve that for those people. Because I've seen what happens when the city doesn't take into consideration the people that are going to be impacted. They're only looking at the one issue, a school or a development or whatever, and they don't look at the people that are going to be really severely impacted by it. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
I'm Mary Duggan, I live on T. Ancrum Road. I just wanted to verify what Dan and Pam both have stated about the plat for their subdivision. When the town was first incorporated, my husband, Mayor Mike Duggan, worked very hard to get not only one access vacated, but 2 accesses. There was one to the east, which would go into what is now going to be Heber Meadows as it develops, and then one to the north, which would go off into what is now the RV park. I'm very disappointed that the school district has chosen these properties to build a school on. I was the clerk recorder for the town when they purchased the property on 3000 South. And I told the realtor at that time, there is no sewer, there's not going to be a sewer in Daniel. We live in 5-acre zoning. We pay extra taxes to live in 5-acre zoning. So we actually pay a higher percentage to our school district than people who live in more developed areas. We all know that. We know how our taxes are going up. More than 50%, I think it's about 70% now of our taxes go to our schools. We love children. I've heard it said that the people of Daniel don't support the school district, and that is absolutely false statement. We love our kids. We take good care of our kids. In fact, I consider myself an educator. I was a member of the NEA and tenured faculty member at Skagit Valley College in Washington State. So I'm very devoted to educational pursuits, and I've always volunteered in schools and love children. But I don't agree with what has happened with this parcel, and I would like to add to the other members of, that have spoken at this hearing. By the way, thank you for holding this public hearing, allowing us to speak. speak on these issues because it's very difficult to get a venue to do this in other places. Ranch Drive, as has already been stated, was never built to the standard to allow all of this traffic that we anticipate will happen. And I would like to see in writing that no construction trucks will be allowed to access these properties as construction continues. A man gate on that side of the property would, I think, be a security issue more than anything else. Certainly, I would, if I were going to that school, like to walk up that street because I live so close by, but I won't do that because it would be trespassing on private property to do it, and I just don't see the need for it. Driving around is not that big a deal. So anyway, that would be my comment on that. One other resident, well, she's not a resident right now, is she?
No, she's an owner.
She's a property owner, and I've been asked to read her letter if I could, please. Dated April 4th, 2016. Dear Daniel Town Council and Planning Commission, I own the property at 2960 Ranch Drive, and I oppose the possible construction of a man gate on the proposed elementary school grounds on Ranch Drive. I specifically purchased property in the town of Daniel because of its quiet rural character. Ranch Drive should be considered a private road and traffic be kept to a minimum. The subdivision I am part of is Ranch Estates, and it was specifically subdivided with horses and other livestock in Daniel's mind. My property is at the corner of Ranch Drive and 3000 South. I've had to replace most of my fencing from white vinyl to sturdy pipe construction to try and keep my horses in safely on my lot. There already is constant traffic along 3000 South, and I have watched on a consistent basis large county trucks speeding down the road along with other vehicles. Therefore, it is truly not safe for any child to walk down Ranch Drive to access the road because of interactions with our livestock, and there are also no sidewalks. If cars are allowed to approach the gate and drop children off, it will endanger our livestock. My neighbors and I frequently ride along the roadways. If a man gate is constructed, there could potentially be hundreds of cars driving down this road. It would not be safe nor prudent use of Ranch Drive. The entire access to the school should be completely from the north side of the school. Submitted respectfully, Barbara Johnson.
Mary, I had one question.
Surely, Kim.
You were talking about the property that was on 3000 South. What was your point about the school district buying that property?
Their realtor was asking, and I didn't know it was the school district that was considering the purchase. But you recall it had the old church on there that,
Coolard?
Beth Cooler's house that she was living in. I was asked, is there sewer? No, there's no sewer. Everybody's on a septic system. How about sidewalks? No sidewalks, no plan to ever have sidewalks. How about curb and gutter? No, we're not doing that. We're rural, we're gonna stay that way, or at least for the foreseeable future. So that was the issue. But the school district purchased it anyway with knowing those, they have demolished that building now, and
In your
they still-
opinion, which side do you prefer?
I prefer the one that they've chosen here, but I thought even this was a poor choice, because most of the kids are not coming